Welcome back everyone with another deck guide, this time for the first time featuring a Pool 3 deck. Now, if you're having trouble countering the meta, we've seen a lot of changes recently. Maybe you don't have all the cards yet to play all the best decks. Maybe you're a little new to Pool 3, just like me. I don't have all the cards yet. This is a really cool idea for a deck that I thought of to make use of a disrupt playstyle, and that's why I kind of made this Lockjaw Disrupt deck that I think, the goal is that if I can't play my cards and be better than them because they're playing all the best Pool 4, Pool 5 cards in the game, well, let's make a deck that just disrupts their game plan and makes it as difficult as possible for them to win. And we can cheat out our own win condition using Lockjaw. This is really happy to pull this card. I got him really early in Pool 3. And even with the changes, you can only swap once per turn now, but I still think this card is really damn good, and most of the time you're not really looking to pull multiple times per turn. In fact, a lot of times with the new change, you might even be able to play like some really cool stuff where you can actually play more than one card and guarantee a bit of power in that lane. So let's go over the deck. Basically, we have our the same Infinite control package that we used in Pool 2, so we still have Infinite as like a late game win condition, and of course something to cheat out with Jubilee and Lockjaw. Sunspot comes in as a really easy one drop that you can play if you're ever, skipping a turn. He just powers up like crazy, so he's a really good drop. And now let's go into our real powerhouse, our draw engine of this deck, Lockjaw and Jubilee. These are the two things that are going to let us cheat out some really powerful cards. Lockjaw, every time we play a card here, it's going to cheat something out, right? It can only happen once per turn, but we're going to be able to play, all of these low-cost things and then hopefully pull out our big guys. And Jubilee, she got changed a little bit to just add the top card of your deck, but more or less, it's still going to be the same idea. You're not really losing anything with this change. So the idea here is that we want to basically be playing our early Disrupt package, which is going to be our Iceman. Gives a random card in your opponent's cost +1. I think it's a really damn good card for the meta right now. It can hit any of the Sandman or the Waves or, even a Sarah. If you hit a Sarah, you pretty much, they can't win anymore. So this is a really good card. I love playing this on turn 1. It's a really damn good Disrupt package. And Scorpions are second, just kind of hitting their whole board with -1 power. It makes him an actually really strong threat, and you're not really doing anything else on turn 2 anyways, so you might as well be playing him and just really kind of messing up their plan, especially if you're seeing any kind of Zoo decks or anything like that, any kind of Patriot decks. This might really help curb how much power their hand has. So now, and finally, we have our Polaris as our final Disrupt package. This is kind of like our anti-Galactus card, being able to move an opposing card. But for the most part, she's just a really strong card. I feel like she's not that cool when you first look at her. Like, she doesn't seem that strong. But as you play her more and more, you're going to realize that she just has so much use case. She's able to mess with their plan a lot of the time. She's able to disrupt a lot of locations and just kind of favor the game in your way. And at the end of the day, it's still a 5 power for 3 cost, which is, that's really good. Like, so, Polaris, again, Polaris and Lockjaw were like the first 2 cards I pulled in Pool 3, so I was really happy to put together this deck using them. Now, of course, Jubilee still comes in here with our Lockjaw. It still works for if you play Lockjaw and then Jubilee, you're still going to get the pull from Jubilee, and you're going to get the pull from Lockjaw. Jubilee's going to get switched out. So you're still getting that effect, and that works perfectly fine. So yeah, Lockjaw Jubilee is basically like our ideal turn 3, turn 4 play. Now, finally for our Disrupt, we also have our Shang. He's just so good. He sticks around. I might consider, messing around with this card a little bit, maybe putting in Enchantress now that she's a little bit more on the strong end. For the most part, I really like Shang. I think he's doing really well. Now we got over here, we got our kind of like big packages that we can pull, as well as our strong turn 5, turn 6 plays in case we weren't able to set anything up. That's going to be our Hobgoblin. Not 100% sure on this card. I might switch this out for like maybe an Enchantress or something. Maybe another really big card. If I had like Dr. Doom, he would definitely be in there instead. But I like this card. Sometimes you're able... I really like Hobgoblin. Sometimes you're able to just cheat him out with Lockjaw and then throw him over to their board. Other times it's just a fine turn 5 play, and we don't really have a lot of great turn 5 plays outside of cheating with Lockjaw. Otherwise, Vision, he's really good just because being able to pull him from Lockjaw lets you move and then keep, play again. And also, in general, we don't have a lot of great 5 power cards, so I think he fits that slot really well. Finally, this used to be America Chavez, but now we're running with She-Hulk instead. I like She-Hulk a little bit better just because America Chavez, now that she's at the bottom of the deck, you have a much lower chance of pulling her with Jubilee, or well, you actually can pretty much never pull her with Jubilee. So I like She-Hulk a little bit better. I used my free Series 3 card of the season to get her. And I would definitely recommend getting her if you like this kind of style. But she's great. I think she does her job very, very well. She works with Sunspot, again, where you can pass turns and play her. Another great card that you can cheat out with Lockjaw. Hulk, again, same idea. He's just a really strong turn 6 play and another big card to cheat out. And, of course, Infinite, either our win con on turn 6, we just play him and we have, a win condition. We just won a lane by himself. Or, again, we cheat him out with Lockjaw or Jubilee, and we've just basically, almost won that lane. So again, strengths of this deck is I think that it really does give you a little bit of the power that you need to compete with some of the more meta decks. I feel like this deck does require a little bit of, high rolling. You do have to get a little lucky with your cards. Sometimes you'll just get swamped with all the strong cards in your hand and not be able to play anything. But remember, if you don't have the best cards in the game, can't play the most meta decks. I think this is a really cool idea of how you can play more of a disrupt package and kind of mess up what they're doing, and oftentimes they just won't be able to play their cards the way that they want to. And of course, I think the big weakness of this deck is, like I mentioned, it is going to require a lot of variance, and there are some times where you're gonna Lockjaw and pull out a Sunspot, and you just have to be okay with that, because it's gonna happen sometimes, and it should just be a fun moment to laugh and be okay. So let's go ahead and just showcase just a couple games featuring the Lockjaw. Hopefully we can show a little bit of games where we use Lockjaw to basically cheat out a big one, and then other times where maybe we don't have the Lockjaw and we can instead play for just a normal play instead. But here we go. You can see here we have our Jubilee, which is good. It means on turn 4 we're going to be looking for that. We'll probably just go ahead and play the Iceman. Again, always we want to be Icemanning early. And I can play Iceman here just fine. Not really too worried about that. Shang is really good because he's actually going to help us with this Monster Island. Kind of just help us deal with that earlier. But again, look at this. He doesn't have a turn 1 play. We're not sure what Iceman hit, but I guarantee you it hit something good. And now here we have our Lockjaw and we have our Jubilee, which is awesome for us. I mean, that's really good for us. So I would actually go ahead and I could actually snap this. I feel really confident to snap because I'm probably going to do Lockjaw, Jubilee here. And then maybe on turn 4 with Shang. And that just, I mean, we're in a really good position right now. So we can actually snap pretty early and try to play this game out a little bit more aggressively. All right. Turn 7 this game. Wow, that's going to be very, very interesting. Limbo plus Vault. I don't think I've seen this in a while. But again, we'll play our Lockjaw out. I like that we're going to get a bit of a longer game here. So we'll have a bit of cool stuff that we can do. And that does favor us pretty well because we are playing a deck that likes to cheat out big minions. We don't love to see our Infinite, but you know what? It's okay because we might be able to skip turn 5 instead. So let's go ahead and Jubilee here. We'll get 2 pulls with our Lockjaw Casino. And let's see what we get. Hopefully we get something good. We still have a couple big minions in our deck. We have our Hulks. That's a Polaris. I'm okay with that. Don't hate that. And that's our Hulk. Not bad. And so he's going to go ahead and discard a Magneto. I'm fine with that. Now turn 5, what do I want to do? I kind of want to be able to play the Infinite. Honestly, I really do. But I also want to see if I can't have a better play. Maybe we just don't. Maybe we do something else on turn 5 instead. The idea is on turn 7, I'll actually be able to hit this guy. So I think what I'm actually going to go ahead and do here is just pass so we can play the Infinite. We'll just go ahead and pass. Again, not a big deal. We're not too worried. We'll go ahead and just play the Infinite here. like we planned. And the turn after that, we can maybe do like a Shang and a Scorpion or something here to try to pull out, because we'll know exactly what we have left in our deck. So he's going to play his Jubilee, which is cool. Uh-oh. Well, there goes his whole board. Okay, and now for our last turn, the cool thing is we know that the last card in our deck is a She-Hulk, right? We know the last card in our deck is a She-Hulk, so we can actually Shang here and play like a... maybe like a Scorpion here or something, right? Actually, we could actually go for Sunspot instead, because this is going to rotate out. And then for our last card, maybe we just play like a Scorpion or something like that. Again, I don't know what his last thing... and he retreats, because again, we have so much power on the board right now that there's nothing that they can do. And we had a great turn 6 follow-up as well. I don't think cheating out the MODOK is quite what they wanted in that situation. So let's go ahead, get into another game. Again, you can see that if you're thinking about what cards are left in your deck, what the chances are of getting a big drop, you're going to really be able to maximize the power of your Lockjaw and your Jubilee. So I would really recommend keeping track of how many cards do I have left in my deck, what are the odds of me drawing, you know, a really strong card here. Because if the only thing you have left in your deck is like an Iceman and a Sunspot, you want to be really careful to go with the Lockjaw game plan, because it's not going to help you that much. So they're going to go ahead and snap this. It's not great for us. We're not too happy to see a snap. But we have our Lockjaw. We got a Shang. Shang is really good into Shuri's Lap. So I think I'm okay to just play this out, basically. Alright, and they're going to go ahead and play that. That's okay. I don't really care here. Wow, a Quantum Tunnel here is kind of crazy, because now we're going to get some really wacky games now. So we can actually go ahead and Scorpion here. We're about to see a really weird game, because Quantum Tunnel with Lockjaw is going to give us a lot of swaps. There's our Hobgoblin. You can have a Hobgoblin, good for them. Again, you can see the power of cheating out a Hobgoblin. You just kind of throw it over to their board, and they don't really have a good way of dealing with it. This hood's a little annoying. We can't really do anything about that, but I think we're still fine. We can still, you know, get something going. I want to almost every turn try to get something done on the Quantum Tunnel, which is, you know, almost always going to be good for us. So I think I'll go ahead and just Sunspot here and then play the Star-Lord there. Maybe the turn after this we could try to set up our Lockjaw dead, but I think this is fine. Go ahead and do this. We'll cheat out something with the Quantum Tunnel. Wow, and the Valkyrie comes out. That's actually a really crazy draw for them. Very good for them. It might actually save them from here. Okay, so now what do we want to do? I think we're going to look for a Polaris here to try to move Viper into this lane. Because what we can do is if we move this, it might limit how much more they can play here. And we might be able to actually lock down Quantum Tunnel. And if we can lock down Quantum Tunnel, then we can actually just use Infinite as our turn 6 win condition. Otherwise, we'll just have to play out like a Vision and maybe move Vision in. Or, you know, we still have a couple other plays. But for now, if I can move this Viper in here, it gives us a lot of really cool options for what we can do. Sentry comes in. That's okay for us. We just need to hit anything here. Really anything here that's kind of big. Be very good for us. The Scorpion I think is just fine. Again, I'm okay with that. And now we just have to look for, well, how else can I win this game? Because we are in a bit of a, it is a little tough here, right? I don't want to Shang just yet, because I kind of want to use Shang here, because he can't play anything there. And if we Shang there, we win 100% of the time. So instead, let's go ahead and basically keep trying to do something with our Lockjaw. Maybe our Lockjaw can get us something big on this board. Sarah's gonna come out with 4 cards, probably 5 cards in hand, 5 cards in hand after the draw. So we'll try to cheat out like a Hulk, or sorry, like a She-Hulk or something, which would be very good for us. Yep, there's our She-Hulk. And now we have our Polaris, which we could use, but instead we're gonna go ahead and do this, and hopefully this is going to kill the Sentry, draw us something big as well, and now we'll be winning with these 2 lanes. We're kind of giving up on this game plan, but we're ahead 20 here unless he has some way of clearing it. But even then, he has to set up, you know, he has to clear the void and also set up 11 more power. So, you know, that is pretty damn tough. I think the Shang play here is just fine, though. And even with the Carnage, I'm not 100% sure if there's enough power there. Oh, and it is going to be just barely enough. Okay, I think, yeah, with this... Okay. So a bit of a low roll for us there. We unfortunately lose that last location, but you can see the game plan. And again, Quantum Tunnel kind of makes this deck a little crazy just because we start cycling pretty much our entire deck over and over and over again. But you can see the idea is you play your cards, you cycle them for bigger cards, and you just keep doing that over and over again. And hopefully you can pull enough to make it work. All right, so here we go. One more game. This time, hopefully we can just, you know, we can maybe cheat out like an Infinite or something, which is always good for us. I love playing Sunspot here because we have nothing else to do, and we're going to have extra energy, so we can kind of just pass. And with our Sunspot down early, this might be one of those games where we can just pass a lot and play our big minions, because we're not really... If we don't have big minions in our deck, if they're all in our hand, then we kind of have to just play out our hand and, you know, not always use the Lockjaw game plan. So we'll go ahead and see what do we get on 2. Hopefully we can get, again, more of our disrupt stuff like an Iceman or a Scorpion, because we want to be using that as much as we can. This is really good because it means even if we pass, this is just going to get really, really big. So I'm totally happy to do that. Just let him get big. Hobgoblin's awesome for Superflow. We might be looking for like Hobgoblin into Superflow, and now he's not going to get the extra energy, but we'll still have the extra energy, which is, I mean... That's like a 2-in-1 play. We're winning Superflow and we're denying the energy. So this is great. Let's see, turn 4. Again, this might just be a pass play because of our Sunspot. We're kind of loading up here. We don't really have too much else. So I think we'll just go ahead and Iceman. Iceman is actually good for Sunspot because you're using 1 cost, right? So you're not getting as much power on Sunspot, but you're developing 2. So it's actually a benefit for Sunspot to play, or it's benefit for this location to go ahead and play it. So we'll go ahead and Iceman, try to see if we can't disrupt anything in their game plan. It's a little scary. Now turn 5, or this is our turn 4, so we're gonna go ahead and just Hobgoblin. Very, very annoying for them, because it's going to disrupt some of their game plan. On our turn 5, we might just be able to play like Hulk or something and not really bother with the Infinite, just because we have a bunch of big cards anyway. That I don't know if passing here is always the right answer. But again, we have a lot of options, which is good. More options is always, I mean, it's always better for us. Alternatively, I could have just passed this turn. That's not a bad idea either. Passing this turn and doing nothing. But I kind of like this because I think what I can go ahead and do now is I can either pass an Infinite, which is fine, or I can try to... I think I might play something like Vision to try to move Vision into this, which I think is a pretty decent play. With Dracula here, we're a little worried because Dracula could hit something really big, so I don't know if I want to go crazy with this. Cards that cost 1, 2, or 3 can't be played here. That's a little hard for us to deal with, right? Oh, actually, wait, sorry. No, Crimson Cosmos is good for us. We have a bunch of big minions, so we want to be playing our big minions. I think we'll go ahead in that case. And, let's see. I think we're actually just going to pass here. And we could do a really cool turn 6 play by just playing Infinite and letting this energy scale up. Alternatively, if we don't do that, the other option that we can go for is, like, if we pulled the She-Hulk, we would have been able to play both. But I think this is totally fine. We just play the Infinite, and hopefully this gets us enough power. Otherwise, we're still winning Superflow, which is, I mean, good for us. Remember, we have 7 power this turn. They only have 6 because of Hobgoblin kind of ruining this lane for them. So I like setting up something here on Crimson Cosmos. We could have also tried to do like a Jubilee play or like maybe a Lockjaw strong play. But I think this is just fine. There was a really good idea there where if we had gotten, for example, oh wow, and they're actually gonna, I think they might even be able to win this lane. Wow, very cool. Okay, and they're actually gonna have just enough here. So again, a very close game. But you can see what the idea is. Use our Sunspot, using our Infinite, using our Lockjaws to kind of come out. Alright, and I wanted to go ahead and just showcase one more game with the Lockjaw package. Hopefully, again, trying to cheat out some of our big minions and using that to kind of cheat our way into a win. So we have our early Iceman, which is always good to see. Sunspot's really good too, because we might want to combo that with She-Hulk. But we'll probably just go ahead and pass right now. We'll play our Iceman and pass. Now this is pretty good because we can play our Sunspot now and just kind of wait, and then play our She-Hulk the turn after that. So I really like that because now we could pass our turn 3 and play our She-Hulk on turn 4, which is totally fine. I'm totally fine to play that. Let this guy power up a bit. And in fact, I think we'll actually be able to play our She-Hulk just because of that. So this is great. The card with the highest power here adds +3 power. That's good. I'll go ahead and just play that, I think. The idea is that I want to play my Hobgoblin next turn into their Super Flow, which is going to mess up their gameplay. So we'll use our Hobgoblin into Super Flow, mess up their game plan. And then turn 5, we might even pass, or we could have passed and played the Infinite too. I don't think that's like an awful one too. But I think this is good. Just play the Hobgoblin. Kind of denying how much energy they'll be able to play. Next turn, we definitely want to get as much minions as we can in here. So maybe even like a Scorpion and a Vision would be good. This Bishop is getting a little scary. We are a little terrified of this Bishop now. But we have a ton to do. So let's actually go ahead and just do our Lockjaw Scorpion. Get some stuff going. Because why not, right? We want cards here anyway, so our next turn we'll be able to play something here. But I like getting as much cards here as possible. And especially if we can still get like our Hulk out, I think I'd be really happy. And we have 4 cards left in our deck. Hulk is still there, which is I'm happy to get our Hulk. And look at that, we can actually grab Polaris and toss in a Mysterio, which is not very good because it's actually denying an Angela draw, as well as denying like whatever this Mysterio becomes is going to end up being 0, so that's really good for us. And there we have our Hulk. We could probably just play our Hulk here, I think. We don't have to, like, we win these both pretty hard, but I think splitting up the power is good just in case of like a Shang-Chi. And they're going to go ahead and retreat just because Polaris helped us lock down that middle lane, so we're kind of able to just win the game off that. We have so much power established with our big minions that we just kind of win. So again, I don't think this deck is like the greatest deck in the world. It's certainly not going to be, you know, winning every leaderboard. But, you know, if you do like this kind of Lockjaw Casino playstyle, I would definitely give it a shot. It is a lot of fun, and it is pretty entertaining to, you know, high roll and cheat out some of those really big minions that you weren't expecting. So give this deck a shot, and I'm sure you're going to love it. And the next video will probably be featuring the current best deck in the game and what really got me wanting to play this game, and that's Serra Control. So stick around for the next video, and I'll see you guys soon.